Hello everyone, welcome back. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Today I have a book called The Escape by Ruth Kelly. The grander the home, the darker the secrets. That's your front cover, getting a bit of a reflection there. There you go. This was a ride to read, I can tell you that. I'll just get straight in with that blurb for you. When struggling influencer couple Adele and Jack post a crowdfunding video online, they're amazed by a mysterious benefactor's offer to buy them an idyllic 17th century French chateau. It's the lifeline they need to leave all their troubles behind and patch up their relationship after a rocky period. For Adele, it's a dream come true. She will post videos from the fairy tale setting, renovating the grand building as thousands of online subscribers follow their journey. But the chateau is not all it seems, and the local community is far from welcoming. Suddenly, Adele stops uploading. The videos stop, her feeds go silent. Her sister Erin travels to France to make sure she's okay, but the couple have vanished. Erin is determined to find them, but is disturbed by Adele's obsessive fans, the unsettling history of the chateau, and the claustrophobic secrecy of the nearby town. And first, she must unravel the shocking truth. Why did that anonymous investor gift Adele and Jack their dream home? So it's 432 pages in contemporary fiction, crime and thriller, detective, psychological and romance. I love it when the blurb kind of skirts with what happens. So you see it from kind of the point of view of Erin mostly. You see bits of Adele kind of through her YouTube videos, through the influencing side of things, and then you've also got select chapters of people commenting on Adele's videos, and also a news report after Adele and Jack go missing. So it's leading up to a New Year's Eve event, because you realise that they went missing after New Year's. And so you've got like so many days, months, weeks before New Year's Eve, and then so many days after New Year's Eve. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's really nice seeing something where an influencer is like the heart of it, really. Obviously it's about Adele and Jack, and Adele trying to find fame and notoriety on YouTube. But yeah, just seeing Adele's thought process as she does things. In the beginning of the blurb it mentions a crowdfunding video from Adele and Jack, but actually Jack has nothing to do with that post. It's just Adele. She films it, she gets a little bit tipsy one night and posts a video where she talks a little bit about her life and what she wants. And I was just there thinking, if somebody did that in real life, she'd get hate in real life. So it wasn't that surprising when the book does show her fans turning on her when she posts this video, because she posts a video talking about her mum and her mum's illness, having cancer, and talks about how she's at rock bottom and how low she is, and then she asks her audience to donate to a crowdfunding website so that she and Jack can purchase this chateau in France. And yeah, when I read that, it was just like, oh god, the Daily Mail would tear somebody like that to shreds. You know, she'd probably end up like on Towel or something if this was like a real thing. And then it goes into that storyline of her being ripped to shreds in her own comments, and people going, how dare you, you know, you talked to us about your mother and then you ask us for money to buy a chateau. Like, how out of touch can you be? And Adele doesn't understand the backlash. And I'm just there going, no, I can read that from a point of view of somebody who can observe that and think how distasteful that is to do, to go online and beg for money when you can get a job and beg for money to buy a chateau instead of like earning the money yourself, and then using a oh woe is me because my mother's dying. And it's just like, yeah, that's not something that somebody does, and if they do, they would end up on the gossip sites of people tearing influencers to shreds because of how out of touch and ridiculous they're being. Because it's just like, no, she's not actually like hurting anybody in that process. Like, nobody has to give her the money, but the idea of somebody going online and begging for money like that is just, yeah, there's a reason why influencers are torn to shreds, basically. And It seems like I'm making light of that, but I think it's because this book puts this influencer at the very beginning of this and shows you that she has no idea what she has done wrong. And when Jack finds out about it, even because she's like, oh, because she wakes up and she's got all these comments, she's like, oh my god, I've gone viral, yay! And then she looks at the comments, she's like, oh, they hate me. So obviously she doesn't actually get any money that way. But then, because she's mentioned the chateau that she wants to buy, she actually gets an email from a lawyer saying, I have a client who wants to buy this chateau for you. Of course, most people's like alarm bells, red flags are flying, and Adele doesn't question it that much really when it happens, because at first she sees the email and it was just like, oh, somebody's just taking the piss, you know, because with all the other comments that they've had through about this desperate plea online where she used to talk about her mother dying, like you hear that and you just think, oh, you know, are they trying to raise money for her mother's health? And then she goes off and says, oh, actually we want to buy a chateau, and it's just like, really? Really? When she gets the email, she just thinks somebody's making fun of her. But then this woman actually turns up at their house and says, no, I have a client who wants to buy you the chateau. And Adele is just there going, does this really make sense? And then she manages to convince Jack that it's a good thing, somewhere where they can restart, they can go to France, they can renovate the chateau, and that is how Adele's career is going to change. Like, her platform is now going to become about renovating this chateau in France. And then she finds out that actually she's not allowed to renovate it. She's not allowed to do anything. She can do slight things in regards to like maybe a little bit of painting and some furniture, but ultimately she is not allowed to do anything with the chateau. This mysterious benefactor wants her to leave the chateau exactly as it is. And so, yeah, all her dreams are just scarpered, but they still think that it's a better life for them living out in France. So like they sign and then they find out they're not allowed any visitors either, so they're just like, oh wait, you know, I thought that like the plan was that we were going to bring mum out and she was going to live with us in the countryside, and then she realises she can't do that. So throughout it, Adele is very unlikable. I mean, there are times when you do kind of feel for her because you realise that she's starting to learn a little bit from what she's done, but at the same time it's just like she does a lot of things where it's just like there's a reason that people don't like her, there's a reason people had the reaction they did, and she doesn't seem to understand what she's done, really. And then she goes missing. The mother takes a turn for the worse, and Adele's sister Erin travels out to France to basically bring Adele home. She's just there going, I just need to find my sister, bring her home, because it looks like at this point we need to get ready to say goodbye to mum. And so Erin turns up in France, she goes to the chateau and she realises that nobody is there. She keeps trying to ring her sister and nobody's answering, and she can't find a key, so she just bashes her way in through a window, and she goes round, she realises, oh, there's no belongings here. Like, is she actually living here? Is she actually living somewhere else? She goes into the town, and the town doesn't seem to like the couple at all. They talk about the chateau kind of like having a curse over it, and you're just like, what is going on? Like, is this going like maybe down like the supernatural route? But that was one of my first thoughts. It was just like, if there's a curse on the chateau, like, is it the idea that maybe there's some kind of, maybe this is like a haunting type thing? Because I generally don't really look at blurbs and things. I like to go into a book like with a complete blank canvas with like no thoughts beforehand about what I might be getting into. I like it to be a bit of a surprise as I read things. So yeah, as I was reading it at first I was just like, oh, is this going to be going slightly supernatural or going down a bit like a ghost story with the curse? Because of the chateau premise, I was getting slight elements of things like Jonathan Creek, like some episodes like Midsummer Murders, with the idea of like a grand house with all these secrets, which I love a good big house with secrets and like secret rooms and things. There's a point when Adele's actually there thinking, surely there must be a secret room in this chateau, considering how old it is. And when she and Jack find the plan, she's trying to figure it out from there, and she does. She does find one, which I'm not going to go too much in because it starts going through into like the history of the chateau, and I don't want to spoil that part of it, because I'll admit it went in places I never thought. You find out about the history of the chateau, the parties that were held there, the very unique parties that were held there, and Adele coming to terms with the building's history and also trying to deal with the fact that there's talks about something that happened in their relationship, in the relationship with Jack, where Jack may have betrayed her or has done something wrong. And because at first it was just like, oh, what did he do? Why is it that her sister didn't like Jack? And you just get the sense that Adele is struggling more than she lets on. And I think that's kind of a thing with people who put themselves on camera a lot. I say that as I'm sat here talking to a camera. There are things that you don't share with the world. Like with any person you see on the internet, via Instagram, YouTube, anybody who has that public profile, they are not sharing the bad things with you usually. They are showing a certain part of their personality to you that they think will get people to watch them. But ultimately you are not seeing their full personality in a video. And so when Adele is putting on her happy-go-lucky, look at this beautiful chateau, look at my wonderful boyfriend of the past 8-9 years, Jack, who I probably want to get married to at some point, but he's never asked the question. Of course she doesn't actually share that. It's a heightened sense of reality that she is sharing, because behind the scenes she is dealing with the fact that she has been in a relationship for almost 10 years and Jack has done something during that time, which means that she can't completely trust him. He does a bit of gaslighting towards her. It is a pretty toxic relationship at times, and you find out that Adele kind of walks on tiptoes a lot around Jack because she doesn't know what's going to set him off. Sometimes she can say something perfectly innocent and Jack will completely blow up on her. It's like gaslighting and slight emotional, mental abuse. You know, it's not physical, it's making Adele think that she's less than or has said something wrong when she hasn't, and actually it's Jack deflecting. Is it called Darvo or something? Like the idea that like he's done something wrong but he's going to reflect that and reverse it to make the other person think that they've done wrong. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender. So it's deny the behaviour, attack the individual doing the confronting, reverse the roles of victim and offender, Darvo. So yeah, that's basically what Jack is doing to Adele throughout this book, making Adele feel like she's the problem when actually he's doing a lot of stuff to make her confront him. But at the same time, Adele does have moments where it's obvious that she has some issues as well, just in regards to just how she presents herself and how she doesn't realise how she's coming across. I find that this book does a bit of like showing that influencer lifestyle and telling you like, you know, not everything that you see online is the truth, and you know, because you see Adele and her life being completely different to how she presents it online. Her relationship is very different as to how she presents it online. Her relationship with her family is very different from what she presents online, because obviously in the beginning she was just saying, oh, I want to buy this chateau, I want to bring my mum out here to recuperate, and obviously people call her out because they're just thinking, why do you expect everything to be handed to you on a plate? Why can't you earn money to buy this chateau? We are in a day and age when influencers and celebrities are called out when they do something that is very out of touch. You see it in the Daily Mail all the time, and I just find it very interesting how it shines a light over that influencer lifestyle in regards to Adele's story. But it's interesting the timeline of this book, because you start off with seeing the beginning with Adele getting drunk, posting the video and then this mysterious benefactor turning up and buy you this chateau. You're not allowed to do anything with it, you're not allowed any guests, but yeah. And then Adele and Jack ultimately going, you know what, we could do with a new start, especially when Adele's being ripped to shreds online anyway, and she thinks maybe we could just restart. And then it goes into Erin arriving in France and finding the house empty, and then it cuts to these news reports of where they're reporting on Adele and Jack's disappearance, but you're seeing those chapters kind of before Erin like contacts the police and things. So it's a weird intertwining and interesting telling of the story, even with it slightly out of order, because you know that at some point it's going to end up on TV, that this disappearance of this influencer and her boyfriend, and you would see the comments that are left on Adele's YouTube channel. Some people going, oh, you know, it's fine, you know, we love you and all this, and then other comments saying how horrible and awful she is. I mean, it really does look like how people just generally treat influencers anyway. But yeah, so a lot of it comes back to the history of the chateau and who this mysterious person is that bought the chateau for them. And then it becomes something that I wasn't expecting in regards to the friendships that Adele makes in the town when a lot of people don't like her and Jack, and they don't like the fact that they've moved into the chateau, and also because they don't know what the plans are for the chateau, especially because Adele has been told that she can't actually renovate it. So it's a lot of people not actually knowing what Adele and Jack's plans are, and also not knowing who is actually involved and why. And then Erin trying to figure out what has happened to her sister, because all she wants to do is bring her sister home. But at the same time, she's just there going, I don't know where she is. I get there and it looks like there's no trace of them. Like, there's barely any trace of my sister and her boyfriend here. Like, are they actually living here? Then she finds out that they've possibly been staying in a hotel. Then you find out about this party that happened. And I'm just there thinking they were told they couldn't have visitors, so why on earth are they throwing a party? And then you find out more information about, like, what the party actually was. And yeah, it's just a big web that I was just completely addicted to. I really enjoy this, to be fair. When it comes to like a good mystery, it doesn't take much to really entice me in. But yeah, I really enjoy this book. I feel like I've been talking for ages. But yeah, I'm not going to say too much more because I don't want to go into full-on spoiler territory. But it does say The Escape is an electrifying winter thriller, because it is set at Christmas and New Year's, for fans of Lisa Jewell and Sarah Pearse. I have not read anything by Sarah Pearse, but I have done Lisa Jewell. I did 2 audiobooks from her so far, which was The Family Upstairs and The Family Remains. And I am actually listening to an audiobook by her at the moment called None of This Is True. This is going to be a fun one to talk about when I finish this. It won't take me a couple of days. But yeah, I'll just get The Escapes book cover up one more time. The Escape, Ruth Kelly, pictures of the chateau, and it says the grander the home, the darker the secrets. As I said, it all comes back to the history of the chateau and the history of the town. Friendships and enemies. The friendships and the enemies made by Adele and Jack while they are in France. If that sounds interesting to you, I recommend it. But then again, there's very little that I won't recommend. Thank you so much for watching. I'm off to get a cup of tea now. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. I will say thank you to the new subscribers. I have seen the number going up a little bit lately, which was really, really nice to see that we're getting a bigger community over here. If you have any recommendations for books, if you have read this book and you want to share any theories, do talk to me, because I love talking about books. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. I will see you on Sunday for a series Sunday video. Stay safe, everybody. I love you all. Goodbye.